Hi, and welcome to TXDZNY. Today's show, we're going to be talking about 10 tips and things that we really like to do at Walt Disney World. Some are that we like to do with our kids, some were before we had kids. Um, every trip seems a little bit different at different stages of life. Some when the kids are little, some when they're a little bit older. For this show, we're going to be talking about 10 in general tips that I think can help out people with kids and without kids. So let's get started. First, I often get asked what my favorite kind of Disney day is. Um, this day really doesn't make a difference whether you have kids or don't have kids. We kind of did the same before kids and without kids. My favorite Disney day is we like to stay at the resorts back by Epcot, meaning the boardwalk, the beach club, the yacht club, the Swan and Dolphin. It's great to have that convenience of being able to walk right in Epcot in the mornings and making it a really quick, easy way to get back to your hotel at night. So some of my favorite Disney days are when I wake up, try to get to the park right at rope drop, and you have that entrance in the back by in between France and the UK pavilion, and that line's quite a bit shorter than the one going into the main entrance of the park. So you get into the park quite a bit quicker than you do in the front entrance. Um, and this allows you to get to your rides when the park opens a lot faster. We're big advocates of Genie Plus. So what we'll generally do is try to rope drop and hurry up and try to go to either Soarin' or Ratatouille. Try to get those rides done early on and try to do even two of them before the parks really start filling up. We find this relatively easy to do even during crowded times than your easier rides to ride, like Figment, Nemo, Spaceship Earth, and such like that, are uh, rarely have long wait times, allowing you to do those in the morning too. You can kind of bang out about 5, 6 rides really quickly in just a matter of a few hours early in the morning. Now, if the weather is nice on these days, we really like going back to the resort's pool midday to try to relax, and it really allows the kids to kind of get a break midday. They went on lots of rides in the morning. Even for an adult, you sat there and did a lot in the morning. Go back to the pool and just kind of relax for maybe just a couple hours. Even when the kids were really little, we take this time to really try to get them down for a nap. They get a lot better nap back at the resort, even by the pool, if it rather than in a stroller. Um, and then one of our favorite things to do is to go back into Epcot once we finish at the pool for a few hours, where the kids are done taking a nap. And when we go back in to Epcot, trying to just stay back in the World Showcase since we did everything in the front of the park relatively early. We try to save rides like Frozen and Ratatouille and the Three Caballeros for that time frame. So when we're going around World Showcase and eating and drinking, it still allows the kids to do uh, several experiences. I highly recommend having the kids, whatever scavenger hunts going on, have them do that to stay uh, really entertained while you're going back there in World Showcase. And we'll stay there all the way through fireworks, and that makes a long day for the kids. But since they had a little break midday, they can last, and then they have an easy walk home or to the resort at the end of the night. So those are some of my favorite Disney days. Number two is just more focused at the kid for the kids. Number two is meet characters. Your kids at all ages will just absolutely love meeting characters. We, with both our kids, took them as young as my daughter's 6 months and my son was a year, and we only waited till he was one because it was COVID, and we didn't want to go with all the restrictions at that given time. Even at 6 months old, the way you see your kids' faces just light up when they see characters and get excited is totally worth your whole entire trip, in my opinion. But the easiest way to do this, if it's within your budget, is try to do some character meals. There's so many good ones out there. Uh, and we highly recommend doing the breakfasts. The breakfasts are where your kids are going to wind up being more okay with the food that's there. Some of these places, when you go for lunch or dinner, their foods can be hit or miss on if your kids will really like them. With breakfast, so you're going to still get in general, your Mickey waffles, eggs, bacon, pastries, all your stuff that, in general, a lot of kids will eat. Um, One of our favorites is Cape May over at the beach club. We absolutely love that character breakfast. We highly recommend other places like Ohana. We really like um, Topolino's and several others. It's a great way to utilize getting to meet some characters and really getting your kids to get that one-on-one time with them. Where if you just wait in line sometimes inside the parks, it could go rather quickly, and the lines will be a lot longer. I know those character meals can be expensive, but if you could even just do one on most trips, that makes a world of difference. Um, and for your little girls and boys, for that matter, uh, to do princess dining meals, whether that be at Cinderella's royal table or Akershus, um, if I'm saying that correctly. We've done Akershus several times. We actually, on our last visit, just did it for dinner. And my advice for that would be try not to do it for lunch or dinner. The kids really didn't like the food. Me and my wife like the food, but we've done it for breakfast also. And it's a great way to meet princesses for your little kids. And with breakfast, you're going to get your pretty much in general breakfast food. Um, so take that time each day to, whether it be sitting in a line, using your Genie Pluses, let your kids meet characters. It's You won't regret it, and make sure you take your pictures and your videos of them. Number 3 will be um, some World Showcase drinking tips. Like I said, I'm a self-proclaimed World Showcase drinking champion, and I generally do this once or twice every trip, where I drink around the countries, and I have for since I've been 21. So I like to think that I know what I'm doing. Um, my advice for this is, for starters, try to start early in the day. In general, um, Epcot will start serving beer and liquor at around 11 o'clock. Some places you can they'll open up the doors a little bit early, but in general, right around 11 o'clock. If you start drinking at 11 o'clock and you're staying through fireworks, which is close to 10 o'clock, there's 11 countries around World Showcase. So you're going to have about a beer an hour. Now, as a, male, a beer an hour really isn't going to get me that tipsy. So it's a great way to do it responsibly. You still have to make sure you're staying hydrated, drink water, even Powerade and stuff throughout the day. Making sure you're eating, which I don't have any problem doing when I'm at Epcot, between all the festivals and good food all around Epcot and World Showcase. It's relatively easy to eat. But if you sit there and start early in the day, it makes it where you won't be that tipsy by later in the day. If you come in at 3, 4 o'clock and start trying to drink around the countries, and you're having to drink twice as fast, that's when it could get where it could be a little bit, I don't want to say the word dangerous, but we might regret some of the things that you're going to do that day. So my biggest thing with advice is try to start early in the day if you can. Do it responsibly, stay hydrated, respect people around you. A lot of people there with kids, they don't want to hear you saying curse words and stuff like that when you're going all around a Disney park. And try to stay under control, even though you're having a good time. You can have fun without ruining other people's trips. My next tip, 4th tip, is we, over the years now, have loved taking midday breaks at Magic Kingdom. Really, all the other parks for us don't really stress us out. We can stay busy. There's so many places to sit down and relax, where we don't feel like it's just nonstop go, 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 go. Magic Kingdom, on the other hand, really can stress you out if you let it, especially with kids. So what we like doing is taking a midday break to one of the Magic Kingdom area resorts each day that we're at Magic Kingdom. Which resort we go to often depends on what time of the year that we're going. We try to go during the Christmas season every year. Um, Highly recommend going to Wilderness Lodge and Grand Floridian for those. They just look beautiful, especially Wilderness Lodge for Christmas. Go out to Geyser Point, out on the water, go eat a nice lunch, have a drink, enjoy all the beautiful Christmas decorations. You really don't even know you're at Disney World when you're at Wilderness Lodge and out there at Geyser Point. It looks like you're out in the middle of a forest enjoying a nice day. Um, in general, when we're not going during Christmas, we like going over the Polynesian. The Polynesian, we just love the vibe there of the whole Polynesian theme. Um, Go there. There's so many different lounges to sit there and just grab a drink, let the kids run around if it's on the turf, go near on the beach. We really love going there and just having a little break from the crowds at Magic Kingdom for the day. And then we always go back in and go do some more attractions and stay for fireworks. But that little break during the day, with or without kids, really makes a big difference on your stress levels on a Magic Kingdom day. Number 5 is more towards kids, and even adults if you care to do it this way, is that it's okay to miss fireworks when you're going with kids. Um, Disney days can be really long. The littler your kids, the harder it is for them. Being our kids are 5 and almost 4, they're in that age where it's hard for them to wake up at 6, 7 a.m. and last all the way till 10. Especially my daughter who doesn't nap anymore. My son will still take a nap, but it's a really, really long Disney day for them. So we often, when we go for our trips, rarely do short trips. We actually have a short trip coming up in March, but in general, we always do about 7 to 9 days or so. And to skip a night of fireworks here or there really isn't going to make that big of a difference. If you're going for a longer trip and you're doing multiple days at some of the parks, you don't have to stay for the fireworks every night. It'll make a big difference for your kids if you can still have a full Disney day and then maybe get them to bed at an earlier time so that next day they're a little bit more refreshed. And if you're going back to that park another day, maybe having a little bit later of a start so you can stay at fireworks. Just know that it's not the end of the world if you're kids and you miss fireworks for a day. Number 6 is a smaller tip, and we actually don't use this tip overly often, but we have in the past, and it really does make a difference on a Animal Kingdom day. At Animal Kingdom, it's a big park hopping park, and at Animal Kingdom, there's not a ton of attractions to do there. You're talking only maybe a handful to a little bit more of actual rides to ride on with a few different shows. So you can relatively get through that park quickly if you're rope dropping or even getting there close to when the park opens, where it makes it, what am I going to kind of do the rest of the day? So it's real common for people to either park hop if they have a park hopping ticket, or sometimes just go back to their resort to the pool, or just kind of have a chill evening. A tip that we've learned over time is, since so many people do that, going into Animal Kingdom not until later in the day sometimes is good. When other people are park hopping to another park, maybe you can go to a different park in the morning and then you park hop to Animal Kingdom in the evening. Most of the crowd will be gone if you're going in the evening because they've all left for another park or have gone back to the pool. Or just sit there and maybe, if you decide to do a whole Animal Kingdom day, when you feel like you've done everything, maybe just go and sit at a lounge. There's so many cool lounges there, like the Nomad Lounge, the Dawa Bar. There's a lot of cool places just to sit there and chill. There's a lot of good music being played. There's a lot of just calm areas to hang out at Animal Kingdom where you can stretch it out for a day if you want to. And in that evening time, that park is so beautiful that it's very underrated to go on Everest at night, do a sunset safari, watching the Tree of Life come alive in the evenings. Pandora at night is just absolutely gorgeous with the floors just lighting up. So don't uh, don't skip out on Animal Kingdom in the evenings if it works for your trip. Um, Seventh is strollers. So obviously this is geared towards parents with kids. Um, get a good stroller if you can when you're going to Disney World. I know that a lot of good strollers are really expensive, so to have one at your house um, maybe is just not within your budget. We were actually given a Bob stroller when we had our second kid, um, and we absolutely love that Bob stroller for Disney trips. The thing is gigantic and is probably 40 to 45 pounds since the stroller is probably 7 years old. Um, but wow, it saves us on our trips. It just moves incredible. The storage it has, the kids can lay down, take their naps. When we're in the parks, if we want the kids to take a nap in a Bob stroller, it is real easy. We just play the sound machine right near them, and they just go right out. Um, so get a good stroller. There's a lot of good stroller rental companies that'll actually deliver strollers to you at your Disney park hotels, and they're actually really good. We've actually used them before in the past, not always just brought ours. The only negative to them is I found it very, very often that they don't have the trays for the Bob strollers. A lot of trays for most strollers, which is obviously real big when you're trying to give your kids snacks, hold their waters, and stuff like that when they're going around. Since we have a Bob stroller when we have rented, we have been able just to bring our tray, not the stroller, and do that. But I guess that would make sense that why people really don't just have that tray. So that might be a difference on whether you want to use that stroller. But make sure you have a very, very good stroller when you go in there. It really can make the huge difference. I absolutely love going. I'm going to be very, very sad when I have to go to Disney World without a stroller when my kids get bigger. Um, this is probably one of the biggest tips you guys want to know about is our eighth tip. And a big debate that people are having now with Disney prices getting older, more expensive, sorry, is uh, staying on site compared to staying off site. Now, I will say, I grew up through my childhood pretty much staying at timeshares near Disney World. My parents owned a timeshare, and we'd go every year or two, we'd stay at a timeshare, so I wouldn't stay on property. But once I became older and started going to Disney in my 20s, I prioritized that I've always wanted to stay at Disney resorts. So my first several trips I went on when I was in my 20s, and still to this day, I still like staying on property if I can. Every trip that we go on, our budget might be different. It all depends on how quickly it's been since our last trip, and things like that, what we've saved for that year. So sometimes staying on property is within our budget, sometimes it's not. What I will say is there is a huge savings in staying off property. We just stayed off property when we went from Christmas Day to New Year's Day. So we did 7 nights and 8 days off site. We stayed at the Vistana Resort by Sheridan. And for those 7 nights and 8 days, it was just under $2,000 for that whole entire time. Now, what you get at a lot of those timeshares is you get a full kitchen, a dining room, and multiple bedrooms. So at Vistana, what we had was one of the bedrooms had 2 beds in it, and then a full bathroom that was really nice large bathroom. And then there was a king room with a huge bathroom in it, with a nice living room area that even had a folding out couch. Had a little patio in the backyard, was steps away from a pool, and that was all for under $2,000. Now, because we're staying off property, we can't use the bus system, even though Vistana did have a bus system, and most timeshares will, but they don't run that frequently. So we actually did a rental car, but we did Turo, but that cost us $500. So if you look at between getting a rental car and our stay, it was $2,500 for 7 nights, 8 days. On top of that, because the room was so big, there's 4 of us in our family. My sister, her husband, and her 2 kids joined us for the trip, and we were able to split everything. So we did 7 nights, 8 days for $1,250, which you can't beat that. You're talking that's less than $200 a night for your stays at Disney. On top of that, Vistana is only about 5 to 10 minutes away from pretty much all the Disney parks. So it was great to be able to save money that way. Why we like doing off property a lot is because while we're saving money there, we figure we can spend the money inside the parks. We're big advocates of Genie Plus. So if I'm spending under $200 a night for my hotel and transportation, it makes it an easier pill to swallow to go and buy that $120 worth of Genie Plus each day, rather than if I'm staying at the Polynesian and spending $600 a night, still having to go spend $120 on the Genie Plus that day. So we prefer to spend our money inside the parks, whether that be with Genie Plus, doing nicer table service restaurants, getting some more merchandise. So while we do love staying on property, as prices and everything in hotels keep going up at Disney World, we are finding ourselves staying off property more and more and more, and doesn't seem to be affecting how our in-park days are at all. We have just as much fun when we're staying off property as we do when we're on property. When we're going in March, we're actually kind of mixing it up, where we're staying at Vistana again for a couple of nights, but we do love staying at the Swan and Dolphin, where you're still getting that deluxe location, because at Disney World, when you're paying for the deluxe resorts, you're pretty much paying for location. So at the Swan or Dolphin, you're getting the deluxe location, and often, depending on time of the year, you're not having to pay that deluxe price. You're a lot of times having to pay half of what the beach club or boardwalk might be at that time. Another good savings on if you want to stay on property is looking at renting Disney Vacation Club points. There's a couple really good websites that offer this, and we've used them several times to stay at these deluxe Disney resorts for longer stays, and paying normally just a little over half of what it would be if we just booked it directly through Disney or through a travel agent. The key to that is you have to book it in advance quite a bit. So you have to know when you're going and have it all planned pretty far out in advance, which is very easy to do, but that's a great way to save some money as well. Which brings me to my 9th tip is buy Genie Plus. I know everyone's budget is different, and sometimes it just doesn't fit into your budget. So it's not a must, but having to wait in lines when you've already spent a lot of money on tickets and stuff can really get frustrating. I think that's what really can turn some people off on their Disney trips, is that they've spent a lot of money on it and they feel like they didn't do very much. Where if you could just budget for a little bit more each day, and if you know about it in advance, roughly how much it's going to be, and budget for it, it'll make your days maximize. Well, if you go for, like we do, if we go for a week, we've done everything that we want to in a week when we buy Genie Plus every day. We often do it every day, where we can almost do everything. You can prioritize different things. Yes, is there negatives where you're on your phone quite a bit? Of course. But if it means that your kids aren't having to wait in lines, if you as an adult aren't having to wait in lines, where you can enjoy the parks more, get more relaxed time, and feel like you got more bang for your buck, it really can make a difference. For us, like we're doing just a 3-day trip coming up, we know that it's going to be about $120 a day for the 4 of us with Genie Plus. So we just factored roughly about that $400 to $500 in Genie Plus, factoring some individual lightning lanes as well. And that's what our budget will be for Genie. So we try to put that into our budgets each trip. And I highly recommend you doing that to try to make your days maximized and give you downtime and not make it as stressful. And then lastly, our 10th tip is there's nothing wrong with being an adult and going to Disney World and enjoying things even with your kids there. Obviously, if you're going as an adult without kids, you pretty much do whatever you want, right? But when you're going with kids, there's nothing wrong with doing things that you want to do. If your kid's not tall enough for Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, still go on it. Go ahead and child swap if you're going there and do some of those thrill rides that maybe they're not tall enough for. Go stop at a bar, even though your kid maybe wants to go on the next ride. Say, okay, we'll go in 30 minutes. Go stop and have a drink. Go sit down at a lounge somewhere and just kind of relax. If it's going to make your stress level. If you're happier during the trip, that's going to make your kids happier, and everything's going to go a little bit smoother. So it's okay to do some, if you want to call it selfish things on your Disney trip, because it'll make the whole trip smoother, and you'll feel like the trip was a lot uh, more worth the money. If you sit there and just feel like you just spent 5, 6, 7 days doing nothing but stuff for the kids, and your wife drug you there, or your husband drug you there, whatever it might be, and you just are acting almost like you're miserable the whole time, that really is on you, because you should be able to enjoy it yourself. When you're at Epcot, go around those countries. If the kids don't like them, make it fun for them. Have them go look for different things around the countries. Have them go on the rides back there. If you're at Animal Kingdom, go grab a drink while there's music playing and sit there and relax and let the kids go dance if they have some energy. There's so many different things that you can do to still entertain the kids while you're still getting to relax. So make sure you, as an adult and parent, do things that you're going to enjoy on the trip. And that's going to be it for these 10 tips and tricks, if you want to call them that, for this second video. So thank you all, and make sure you like and subscribe. Bye.